So the overwhelm has definitely started setting in with transitioning out of my nomadic style into a more stable form of living. I have been at this job that I just got. I just have like a pretty simple job in the parking lot pushing around carts, which is awesome. The lady actually offered me, she was like, "You have experience, like, are you sure you don't want to do like something else?" And I was like, "No, I'm actually pretty happy with doing this job as like my first job into transitioning back into this busy type of work environment after 4 years of just basically working in the dirt and being a fucking vagabond." So I think I've been dealing with the overwhelm and the stress from the transition so well, and it's felt so peaceful to me that like, on the surface, it's difficult to see how much stress is going on in my internal world, but I started noticing about 4 days ago how stressed out I was because I stopped being able to sleep at night, and I've dealt with insomnia on and off since I was a teenager. When I was a teenager, I used to have really, really severe insomnia, but for the most part, I get my sleep pretty well, and I just like, as soon as I basically got the job, I stopped sleeping at night. I started getting a little bit more irritable during the day, which happens when you're not sleeping well. It's perfectly normal, but the past couple nights I started taking melatonin, and the first night I had really weird dreams, not like super uncomfortable, maybe a little bit, but weird. And last night I had like a horrible nightmare that was like honestly almost traumatizing to go through. It was like a torture scene. Hi, baby. And I woke up at like 5 o'clock in the morning and just started calling on like light to surround me, and it was kind of hard to fall back asleep after that, but I did end up falling back asleep, and it was actually beautiful because I started feeling like this overwhelming peace just surrounding me, and it just like, I just felt like I was floating in this like bubble of safety and love, and it was so wonderful. So that was a beautiful little switch from my nightmare. I will say that I don't usually take sleeping aids like melatonin or sleeping pills. Very, very rarely, solely based on the fact that I often have nightmares when I have sleeping aids like that. And I also have a history of getting like really bad sleep paralysis and like demonic nightmares that are just like terrifying while having sleep paralysis. That used to happen to me every single time I would take some type of sleep aid. Thankfully, it wasn't that bad last night, but there were nightmares last night, and I think I'm gonna stop taking the melatonin because it's honestly worse to be able to sleep but then have such horrifying nightmares that it makes me terrified to sleep, so it's kind of counterproductive. Today, I went to grab a broom because little Maple here, little cutie patootie, woke up to her chewed up some trash this morning, and that's normal. It's whatever. I usually just am like, whatever, I'll just sweep it up. And this morning, it just felt so overwhelming. I'm sure most people understand what this feels like. When your internal world is overwhelmed, it can be very difficult to do small, basic tasks and not have those feel just like so overwhelming. But I was like thinking about it. I was like, oh, maybe I'll just wait and let my brother do it when he gets home, or like do it later when I feel less overwhelmed. And I'm just like, it's such a small mess, Cherisse, just push yourself to do it. So I just was like, you know what, I'm just gonna clean this up real fast. It's gonna take like less than 30 seconds, maybe 30 seconds. And I went into the closet to grab the broom, and I just started like sobbing, like just fucking crying. Man, for how much like peace I've felt, this is a really difficult transition. In my last video, I talked about how I was dealing with some like nervousness about starting this job, and this is like my least favorite part about starting new jobs and being in jobs like this, especially when it's like a busy work environment. I am autistic. I found out that I was autistic when I was 22, which made a whole lot of things in my life make sense. And starting a new job and having this massive of a life transition is a big change. It's a pretty big change for me. Beginning jobs is generally really rough for me. It's a new environment, new people, new job responsibilities, and it is so overwhelming for me. I am on the fence about whether or not I should let them know that I am autistic. Often I have been met with this like disbelief where if I say that I'm autistic, people are like, I don't believe that. So I don't know whether or not I will bring that up to them. Maybe it will encourage deeper levels of understanding for me. So yeah, but I have been definitely feeling the overwhelm hitting pretty fucking hard. My appetite has been decreasing a lot as well, which is a big sign of stress. So between the sleep, the loss of appetite, and the increase in irritability, I was kind of forced to face the realization that I am overwhelmed. I am overwhelmed, even though I think that I'm handling it like so well, like a champ. Like, I mean, what can I say? The past 4 years, my whole life has been kind of overwhelming, to be honest, and chaotic. But the past 4 years, just despite all the positives, it is a very like it can be a very stress-inducing life. To never know, like, where the money's gonna come from next, and like, okay, well, I'm not staying here anymore, so where am I gonna stay next? Is this place gonna feel safe? So is my car gonna fall apart, or some issue comes up and you don't know how you're gonna pay for it? It's a very like trust fall kind of life. So it's like I'm used to the overwhelm of never knowing anything, basically. So it's nice to have this stability where I'm like, okay, I know I'm going to be getting a paycheck, so that's awesome. I don't have to worry as much about that stuff. But at the same time, like, the overwhelm from like being in this work environment and having to start something new and being in a new place is definitely starting to settle in pretty fucking strong. I'm starting to feel reclusive again, like I want to hide, I don't want to be around people as much, and I'm starting to get like afraid of people. So that is that's fun. That's fun. Definitely starting to deal with a lot of like defensive thoughts, like I'm just waiting for people to start fights with me, and in my mind like getting defensive and being like, oh, okay, well, I gotta be prepared. And I'm like, girl, that's a negative spiral. Chill the fuck out, pull yourself out of that, and expect that the best is gonna happen. So I have just been trying to do that as much as possible and not letting myself spiral out. I have been participating in my self-care still, whether it's frequencies or binaural beats or positive affirmations in the morning. I've been doing yoga still, and and or some form of exercise each day. So I'm taking care of myself through this, but yeah, it's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm really hoping that the overwhelm settles down a little bit, and I think once I just get in the swing of this job and it becomes more of a normal thing for me and not something that's so brand new and terrifying and just change, it's gonna even out and all of that. So that's where I'm at. But yeah, I just thought I'd share that with you guys. This is so weird. This is a weird transition. Like, my brother used to also be nomadic and living out of his forerunner. Most of my family are big travelers, and I was talking to him about how I was feeling like I was like overstimulated and overwhelmed by this transition. And he understands, he totally relates to it because he's lived in that nomadic lifestyle, and he told me he kind of went through the same thing when he had to get into when he transitioned into a more normal style of living again. It was definitely took some time to get used to. So it's nice to be around somebody who understands this transition. If you are somebody who is nomadic and considering transitioning into a more stable form of living again, or if you're somebody who's going through that now, like, you're not alone. It's rough. It's rough, honestly. I don't fully know how to explain this specific like type of transition because it's a big one. It's honestly a really big transition, and I knew it was gonna be difficult, but I guess I kind of got hopeful because I was feeling so much peace that I wouldn't be getting overwhelmed by it at all. Which is maybe a little bit far-fetched of a hope, but I'm glad that I'm in a good place and that I have a good living situation right now. And I'm also glad that this is just a part-time job. Right now, I'm only working 20 hours a week, and I am also so grateful for the mode of living that I've had because on average, over the past 4 years, there have been different times, but on average, I have survived off of about $500 a month. So thankfully, I don't have to pay much rent here. I actually am not sure how much I will be paying, probably $300-$400 a month, but that really helps not having to work as much, and I only have like a couple actual bills, and like I've said in another video, this style of living has taught me like extreme frugality, so I can keep my expenses extremely low, so I am not trying to get into full-time work right now. In my mind, I was a little bit like, yeah, like, about getting into like a full-time job, but I knew from the start that like 30 hours a week would be like the most I'd really want to work. And now that I'm only at 20 hours a week, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm so glad I don't have to do more than 20 hours a week because I would be so much more overwhelmed. And I'm just like, wow, I think I need to be taking this way slower than I even thought that I had to take. So working in a normal job is so much different than working like on a farm. So I think that once the farmers market starts, I might see about finding a farm that's close by that I can work on. I do miss working in the dirt and working on farms. It is quite a bit overwhelming being around a lot of people. I'm already not a city girl, and I think that I was dealing with it so well until I entered into this job, and it's such a busy, big work environment with so many people there, so many people coming in, so many people working, and it's just, oh my God, it is definitely what kind of like knocked the overwhelm in like immediately. Like the first day I went in for like the interview, which was basically like the job offer as well, was also the first night that I stopped being able to sleep, and since then it has just been like my stress has gone through the roof. And so yeah, honestly the city aspect has been pretty easy, but it's the starting the job that has been really, really stressful, like the most stressful part of this transition. So that's gonna be it for today, guys. Please do like and subscribe. Thank you for watching and being here along with me through this crazy transition that I knew would. I feel like everything that's happening I kind of knew I was already gonna go through, so it's not like it was any of this is unexpected, but it is still, even if you expect and know that something is gonna happen and you're prepared for it, it doesn't necessarily mean that it is any easier. So maybe it is easier because I expected it. So yeah, that's gonna be it, guys. Wish me luck on this journey. This is, God, my life is so interesting, but yeah, I love you guys. Thanks again for watching, and till next time. Bye.